Tonight, legal challenges loom as Florida scrambles to complete the isolated detention center dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. Deep in the Everglades, dump trucks today rolling right past hundreds of protesters condemning the development. What does this land mean to you?
This is my home.
Environmental advocates are suing DHS and the state, alleging the site did not get an environmental review required by federal law.
We are for the earth. We are
the land's native people, central to calls to preserve this delicate ecosystem.
This is a place where we come for healing, where we look for our herbs, where we come to pray.
Protesters here draw the line at developing this delicate ecosystem, but no amount of chants or signs or honks is stopping this near constant stream of construction racing to finish this site by next week. New views from above show the dizzying pace of construction. Trailers and tents intended to hold thousands of migrants as ICE looks for more capacity to support President Trump's deportation goals.
Any sense that somehow this is going to have any impact at all on the overall Everglades there's zero impact.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis downplaying environmental concerns while the state Republican Party fundraises off the flashy Alligator Alcatraz name. Today's protesters calling the facility political, pushing instead for preservation. Ryan Chandler, NBC News, the Everglades.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video I'm dropping tonight, in case anybody hasn't heard, Ron DeSantis out in Florida is taking an area from the Everglades where they usually set up whenever there's natural disasters. I'll get to that in a second in the video. Where he's setting up detention centers for all the illegal migrants that they need to process and ship out of the country. But as always, as you've seen in the first video, now there's protesters out there, okay, under the guise of that they're trying to protect the Everglades because it's detrimental to its safety and it's inhumane. And the talking points go on and on and on and on and on. And they're not even talking points, okay? It's just straight up protest and activism because no matter what President Trump or let's say Greg Abbott or Ron DeSantis or anybody that is trying to round up all the illegals and deport them, all the activists and protest and rioters are finding excuses to make it stop. And the bottom line is that it's not going to stop. Okay, so they can complain and moan all they want about the Everglades and put their feeble little minds together. What they're not understanding is that this wasn't something that was brought about by the Republicans. This was something that was brought about, okay, by the people that they voted in, okay, and it went on for 4 years straight, and basically they're going to have to deal with the consequences. That's just it. But anyway, we're going to get into all this. I'm going to get to a couple of videos so like that you can see, and we're going to see what Ron DeSantis has to say about all this. So here we go.
Florida Everglades, where for the second weekend in a row, hundreds of people lining the streets outside of what state leaders are calling Alligator Alcatraz.
And the new detention facility under construction to house undocumented immigrants. Local 10's Linnea Sue Paul went to this morning's protest with the arrival of detainees just days away.
A peaceful yet passionate demonstration. We see so many poster boards out here. Each one tells a different story, but the theme is the same. They think that this detention center will be detrimental to the Everglades. They lined Highway 41 with one single mission and a message to the governor to put the construction of a new detention facility to house migrants on hold.
They're building something that is devastating to us from a humanitarian standpoint, from a moral injury standpoint, and from an environmental standpoint. It's just incredibly sad.
But the constant rumbling of trucks passing by shows the project has no signs of slowing down. some worry what could be at stake.
He claims that this is not going to hurt the environment, but the Everglades is a sacred space. It's sacred to the Indigenous folks, and I'm out here to support them.
You got to be on the team if you...
Okay, once again, you got all these bleeding heart liberals that want to come out and put all these fancy little trigger words to it, and then all sound like they're all broken up inside and crying. Listen, I have a question for all you lefties out there that are out here protesting in Florida. You know, I understand if you want to protect the Everglades. It's not like he's dumping raw sewage or chemicals out into the Everglades, okay? If there's one thing that Ron DeSantis has proven, and he's proven a lot of things, okay? But if there's one thing that he has proven is that he is trying to do things to make sure that he is protecting Florida and his residents, them included, whether they want to believe it or not. So it's not like I said, it's not like he's out there dumping chemicals. He's out there trying to set up shop to make it easier to process these illegal migrants and send them back to their countries. Okay, but once again, they're going to come out, all these protesters, and make it seem like it's something that it's not. It's reminiscent of what happened. And if anybody remembers, I mean, it wasn't that long ago when they sent 50 migrants to Martha's Vineyard, okay, during the off season, mind you, okay, where they had, I believe they said at the time, what was it, 8,000 vacancies, because it was during the off season, and right away they were all out there protesting, saying that they had no room for them, and they didn't even last 48 hours at Martha's Vineyard before they were happy to take all those illegal migrants, okay, all 50 of them, stick them back on a plane and ship them to a military base. Okay, so it's not like they cared at Martha's Vineyard, and in all honesty, it's not like these people that are out here protesting in the Everglades care also. Plain and simple, because they're trying to find anything to make it seem as if what he's doing is wrong. Now, they won't come out and say they don't want the migrants there, because that's just a little too simple, okay? And it'll actually just expose them for the damn hypocrites that they are, okay? No, now they want to say, oh, it's going to affect the Everglades. How is it going to affect the Everglades? It's not like they're camping them out on boats. It's on a concrete strip, an airstrip that's been there. And mind you, when I play the next video, you're gonna see that it's not the first time that this has been done. Maybe not in this mass with this many people, but it's not like that part of the Everglades is not being used. You're gonna be surprised who uses it. Okay. But once again, they're going to come with their BS, making it seem like, oh, you know what, it's inhumane. No, it's not inhumane. What was inhumane was them voting in their leftist politicians who left the borders wide open, okay, and Americans were raped, murdered, trafficked, you name it. That was inhumane. All the trafficking of all the young children, the babies, the women, that was inhumane. Okay? Going out there to the Everglades and setting up shop where they can give these people, as you'll see, room and board and shelter and showers, and process them and send them back on a cozy plane back to their homeland. I don't see how that's humane. Considering that in Mexico and in other countries, Americans are not allowed to go in there without the right paperwork. Okay? They won't talk about that. But when it comes to America, we have to have our borders wide open and then make excuses why we can't send them back. It's insane with these people. Okay, now I will give the protesters this much. They're not being rowdy. It's way different in Florida than it is in all the other states. But for them to come out with this double standard, making it seem like, oh, you know what? It's not good enough here. Okay, so then what area would be good in Florida? No area is going to be good in Florida for them, because they'll protest for this to stop in the Everglades, and then if Ron DeSantis says, you know what, then we're going to go to this area. No, they'll go and protest there also. Okay, and they'll find another excuse. The bottom line is that they want all these illegal immigrants to stay. But let's continue.
You want to get the deportation mission done.
Governor Ron DeSantis was on the ground Friday morning, giving Fox and Friends a tour.
This is going to be a place where, as DHS has said, we need help with space. So illegals can be processed and then they can be deported right from here. And so this is going to be able to have thousands of illegals, and it's going to increase the ability to do deportation.
The structure will include temporary AC units, bathrooms, and showers. More than 3,000 undocumented immigrants can be processed on site.
We do need reform. What we're doing right now is criminal, in my opinion.
I think they're going to do what they want to do regardless of how many people speak out, how angry and loud people become. They're very determined to carry out this plan.
Environmental groups fight.
You see, that's all it is. One guy saying we do need reform, but what they're doing, it's criminal. What's so criminal about it? Like, seriously, what's so criminal about it? See, the whole thing with these people is that they're saying we need reform, but in their eyes, the reform that they want, just like all the other lefties around the country, is to basically process all these illegal immigrants to stay in America. They're saying it's criminal, it's inhumane, whatever the case is, because they don't want them to leave. Again, what's criminal is what happened under the Biden regime. What's inhumane, it's what happened under the Biden regime. Okay? But even in Florida, once again, you got your bleeding heart liberals that think they know it all. Okay, but would they open their doors to take in all these illegal migrants? Hell no. They wouldn't, because if they excuse me, if they wanted to, they can easily open up all their doors. Has anybody seen, okay, and we're gonna get to Ron DeSantis in a second, so bear with me. The one thing that I've noticed in all the protests, okay, and I wanted to bring it up in another video, but for sake of time, I wasn't able to. Did anybody see during all these protests, besides in the morning, where you see some of the family members to the ones that are being picked up, you'll see them protesting a little bit in front of the facilities, and then they wind up leaving. Everybody else is out there protesting. You don't see the family members out there protesting all night long in different areas. Okay? You're not going to see any of those family members here protesting in the Everglades. You won't. Okay? It's always the bleeding heart liberals that want to, they want to do all this and try to make people feel guilty. There is nothing to feel guilty about. Okay? It's not like they were invited here and then kicked to the curb. I mean, in a way, they were invited here because Biden and his regime invited them here, but it wasn't their job, and it wasn't their right to let so many people into this country illegally. So the same people that they voted for, you need to go and bitch and moan at them and tell them what they did was criminal and inhumane. Okay? But they won't. They're going to keep complaining and complaining and complaining. And you heard what the lady said. No matter how many people go to protest, they're basically going to keep doing what they want. It's not that President Trump and Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott and them, it's not that they're doing what they want. They're doing what the law requires. So these people need to take these bones out of their head and understand that. This is something that should have never happened. This is taxpayer money that's being used again. Because the first time around, you people were all for open borders. You put the strain on the American public. You made it criminal. You made it inhumane. But as long as you can go to bed feeling like you're all a bunch of popes and Mother Teresas, innocent people lost their lives, literally lost their lives, and they're still losing their lives. Well, guess what? What's humane, okay, is sending these people back to where they came from. What's non-criminal is upholding the law of the United States. But let's get to the video clip of Ron DeSantis and see what he has to say, since everybody's so worried about the Everglades. Here we go.
And Governor Ron DeSantis led Fox and Friends anchor Steve Doocy through Alligator Alcatraz down in the Everglades. We've been talking a lot about this this week. It's where they're going to be building.
One quick thing. They keep saying Alligator Alcatraz. To me, I call it Gatortraz like I did in my thumbnail. Also, I want to thank all my new subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Please leave messages. Give it a thumbs up. It helps out with the algorithm. Here we go.
A temporary ICE detention facility to try to streamline mass deportation efforts with the federal government. I want to play for you as Governor DeSantis gives a tour of that area.
Normally on a Friday, the Everglades would be so quiet, but right now the hills are alive with the sound of construction. Joining us right now is Governor Ron DeSantis here in the great state of Florida. You came up with this idea in the last couple of weeks, right, for Alcatraz or Alligator Alcatraz. Explain it.
Well, when you want to have deportation of illegal aliens, there's a process the DHS has to go through to vet, to process, and then to stage them for removal.
Right.
And, we've got jails, and our sheriffs and police are working. The state of Florida is all in on President Trump's mission. And obviously you have ICE operations, but that's not enough. And so there needs to be more ability to intake, process, and then deport. So this answers that. This is going to be able to have more than 3,000 illegals can be processed through here. We've got a massive runway right behind us where any of the federal assets that they want to fly these people back to their home country, they can do it one-stop shop.
So where will the migrants come from? And we should point out, we're about 50 miles to the west of Miami, right?
More than that, I'd say. So we're in the heart. We're actually mostly in Collier. We're actually mostly in Collier County, to be honest with you. So
I was going to say we're in the middle of nowhere.
Dade Collier Airport. So this is an airport that we use for training, military. As you see, we're doing this on the existing footprint. But basically, I would say.
Okay, you heard what he said. It's not like the place is never used. It's used all the time. But these people want to go out there and say, oh, that what they're doing is, it's bad for the environment. But the place is being used all the time. Okay? It's just that now, since it's being used to house migrants, now they want to go out there and protest and say that it's a problem for the environment. Because in all honesty, people, has anybody ever heard of anybody out there protesting in the Everglades? I mean, if you have, let me know. I've never heard of it. Okay? As a matter of fact, I mean, there's probably more YouTube channels of people doing like documentaries and doing video in the Everglades of fishing and camping or whatever the case is. Okay, so it's not like it goes untouched at all. From the Everglades of Florida to Louisiana, whatever the case is, I mean, you got swamp people out there doing videos. You got what's the other one? Cajun. Whatever. I mean, I'm kind of tongue-tied, but there's so many people out there filming and doing documentaries and stuff like that. Okay? You ever see anybody out there protesting about that? Of course not. Of course not. But only when they bring in illegals where they can process them and send them back to their countries, now it's a problem. Now it's a problem that the Everglades are in danger. They weren't in danger before. As a matter of fact, they have people going out there trying to deal with certain animals that are not indigenous to the Everglades. Like, I don't know, these giant pythons that are out there. Okay? They're out there hunting excessively to like keep the population of alligators taking over, of iguanas taking over, of giant snakes taking over. So this is not an area that's untouched. It's not virgin land. But leave it up to the protesters to all of a sudden find a way to put a spin on everything and make it seem like it's something it's not. But let's continue.
Most of the illegals will likely be ones that are apprehended in Florida. We've got across this country about 750,000 illegals that have already been ordered to be removed by an immigration judge. We've probably got 50,000 or more in Florida. And so we're going to have our hands full just with that. But I'll tell you, this is going to be a force multiplier, and we're really happy to be working with the federal government to satisfy President Trump's mandate.
None of this stuff was here, except for the runway, about a week ago.
Well, there's a couple buildings with the airport. This is a functioning airport. So media has erroneously tried to say it was defunct. It's not defunct. They do have flights. All those training flights will still be able to
Okay, you heard what he said. He said the media tried to say that it was defunct. It's not defunct, meaning that it's in use. It's not like it's just sitting there and no one's maintaining it properly.
continue, no problem. But all the stuff that goes into intake and processing of illegals, you're seeing this put up. This is all 24 hours. 24 hours from now, you're going to see even more. And by Tuesday, this will be able to have intake of illegals.
And you've thought of everything. Okay, so there are 4 gigantic tents. Let's come on over here, Governor. And people are thinking, okay, you're in the middle of the Everglades. It's hot. That would explain why you've got this bank of air conditioners here.
Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be, illegals will come in, they'll be processed. There'll be places for them to be housed. You'll have an ability for food. You'll have an ability for them to consult legal rights if they have that, because there is a process that's involved with.
Okay, you see that? You see what's inhumane about it? Look at all the AC units. Let me go back a little bit, people. It's not a long video, but there's just a lot to to peel back here. Look at all these AC units. So like that, nobody overheats. He says there's going to be stuff to house them, to feed them, even to have legal representation. Okay? How is all that inhumane? How is all this criminal? See, this is the part that the mainstream media won't show. Are they taking people up and processing them quick and getting rid of them or putting them in prison? Yes, those are the ones that are the high risk. The rest of them, even Ron DeSantis knows that, you know what? We're going to give them, like everybody keeps saying, their due process. They're going to even give them the chance while they're there to seek legal counsel. Okay? I mean, you know, they make it seem, and they just keep pushing the narrative that they're just going out there and just snatching people up. The ones that you see on video that they're snatching up, those are people that they're looking for, that have warrants. They have orders to be taken out of the country. Okay? And he's over here doing it as humane as possible. But that's not good enough for these people. It's because they don't want any of this done. They just want them to stay. And there's something else that's very interesting, that in my opinion, these people, these protesters need to get it straight. And I'll point it out when it gets to it. Here we go. Nope, sorry.
Because there is a process that's involved with this. So this is really everything. This is going to be a self-contained little area. And then, of course, you also have stuff for the staff that work here. So we've got laundry facilities, we've got showers, we've got, obviously, there you see the shower and bath facilities.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Where do you go to get a bunch of bathrooms like that?
Well, so this is being done by the Division of Emergency Management. So when we have a hurricane, like we would actually have people stage here for hurricane response normally, anyways, but we have it when we
see that. So the area that Florida would have to have emergency response personnel during hurricanes and stuff like that, this is where they would do it. Okay. So for the media to say that this area is defunct, it's not. This is where they were set up and staged, so like that they can get all their equipment, get all their emergency responders, their first responders, whatever the case is. This is ground zero for them. This is their home base. Okay? They work out of here so they can dispatch who they have to dispatch all around Florida, you know, whenever there's a hurricane. Okay? But will the media say that? No. I mean, they're making it seem like he's just putting all, you know, just sticks and paper together just to house these people. It's like, no, this is not their first rodeo. This is what they do. But now they're going to have to use it in order to stick with what the law says, to do it their way. Okay? And the thing that all these people from Florida need to understand is that while you're fighting and advocating to keep these illegals here, once again, it's using up taxpayer resources. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Florida right now, I mean, hurricane season started when? Okay, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever the case is. That means that if a hurricane hits, where are those responders supposed to set up shop at? This is not all cut and dry. This is not just something that Ron DeSantis doesn't know how to handle. Okay, and I'm sure that he has a backup plan for that. But in their eyes, no. This is all inhumane. This is criminal. This is bad for the Everglades. Knowing very well that this is a regular staging area. Okay, for emergency personnel or what have you. It's an active runway. Planes do come in, fly in and out of here. But leave it up to all these bleeding heart liberals, like I said, to make it seem like it's something that it's absolutely not. Here we go.
We have all the linemen come in to do the power.
Sure.
We have to set up little areas for them. And so you have all this type of stuff. So this is not our first rodeo. The detainee, illegal alien missions, a little bit different, and the deportations. But logistics, we know how to do that.
Right, and you know, for people thinking, okay, they're going to put the migrants on this hot asphalt, it looks like you're building a subfloor. And in fact, some guys are putting down the plywood.
Yeah,
right now.
look, this will be, I mean, there's not going to be anything that they're hurting for anything. There'll be AC. There'll be things that everybody needs. There's medical here. So it's being done right. It's being done by the book.
Exactly. There you
go.
Well,
you know, when you think of the imagery of Alcatraz, Alcatraz is surrounded by a bay. Here in the Everglades, we're surrounded by... You're actually surrounded by gators and pythons.
So this is as secure as it gets. I mean, if a criminal alien were to escape from here somehow, and I don't think they will, you've got nowhere to go. I mean, what are you going to do? Trudge through the swamp and dodge alligators on the way back to 50, 60 miles just to get to civilization? Not going to happen. So not only that is it secure, it also takes this deportation mission out of the hair of our local and state law enforcement. This has no impact on Florida residents because some of that stuff can have an impact on them if it's in more populated areas. And so logistically, this really answers the call. All you need is a little bus to move them, about 2,000 feet that way, then get on a plane and they're gone.
Well, listen,
let me tell you something, folks. I've had in some of my videos, and I've supported certain things that Ron DeSantis does, and I'm against certain things that he does and stuff like that. But I will admit this, and I have to tip my hat off to him on this for one particular reason, and this goes with the knowledge of being in the military. Ron DeSantis was in the military. For him to be the governor and take charge in something like this, it only shows the kind of man that he is. Okay, it shows the kind of how can I say the skill set that this man has in order to take on a task like this, and he's doing it as if this is what he normally does all the time. One would think that this is his job, to be going around and setting up shop like this and pulling the right strings to say, okay, we got to do this for the people, we got to do that. In all honesty, in other countries, they don't come anywhere close to doing anything like this for illegal migrants. Okay, they just round them up, stick them on a boat, and send them back, or stick them on a plane and send them back, starving, whatever the case is. Okay, they handle it their way. Here in America, everybody's got to handle it a different way. And to think that there are so many liberals, Democrats in Florida that hate this man. Okay, but I tell you what, let's just say if he did leave all these illegals in Florida and just let them roam about out in the street, starving, nowhere to stay, nowhere to go, no money, no food, they wouldn't complain. They wouldn't complain, and I'll tell you why. In places like New York, Chicago, Colorado, not so much California. I'm saying this in the from all the illegals that they brought in during the winter. Okay, you didn't see all these protesters out there caring about all the homeless ones, homeless illegal migrants out in the street. They were just going about their business because they were happy that they were here. But did anybody open up their doors to bring them in? Millions of Democrats and liberals out there that wanted open borders, were they bringing in all these illegals out of the cold, out of the elements? No, they weren't. They were out there protesting to keep them here. They were out there protesting to get the money, whatever the case is. But they weren't, having sleepovers with them at their homes. Oh, hell no. Definitely not. Okay, as a matter of fact, there's a content creator, Caitlin, and I'm sure a lot of you've heard of her. She went around, she did a video with, I forgot, I don't remember who the guy was, okay, but it was an African dude, I believe, and she was going around asking liberals during these protests if they could help them with like $20. They were like saying straight out no. So they're out there protesting against Trump, protesting for illegal migrants, but not one of them will pull out $20 out of their pocket to give that man. Okay? So this whole fiasco, all these smoke and mirrors that they try to pull and make it seem like, oh, we care. This is inhumane. No, once again, I'll say it. What you people voted for and what you people did was inhumane. What you people voted for and what you people did was criminal. Plain and simple. But let's finish this up. Here we go.
The DHS must love this because they're hurting for facilities, and here you are helping the federal government out.
Yeah, well, I said at the very beginning when President Trump took office, you have to have state and locals on board. You got to be on the team if you want to get the deportation mission done. We've done that better than anybody, but I hope other states will follow suit.
You know, if the president is watching, I'm sure that runway right over there could probably land Air Force One.
An invitation from me. We can land Air Force One right there, no problem. We'll get it done. I think the president would be impressed with what these guys are doing out here.
Well, it is very, very impressive. Let me ask you something off topic regarding Alcatraz here. A couple days ago, you said regarding New York City, where that socialist won the Democratic primary. If he wins,
and we'll leave it at that because that's a whole other topic. And I did a video on him a couple of days ago, which I got to make another video because that dude is off the chain. Okay, but I'll digress on that for now. But there you go, folks. You know, these are measures that you would think governors and mayors around the country who say that they care that they would do it. But when you have so many people out there protesting and rioting and committing crimes, okay, against ICE officials and whoever the case is. It's like, how does anybody expect the people that don't want this to not get upset if you're going to keep making it harder? Okay? Ron DeSantis doesn't have to do all this. He just doesn't have to. He doesn't have to waste resources. Okay? Florida taxpayer resources. American taxpayer resources. He doesn't have to do all this. They don't have to be this good. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be good to anybody, but they don't have to go the extra mile and do all this. They're doing it. They want to make the process easier and better and quicker. Okay? Because I didn't see anybody complain when I was in Orlando, when Obama was president. I didn't see anybody out there protesting when he was scooping up Brazilians, okay, in Orlando, and just snatching them up and doing the same damn thing. Taking them out their work vehicles, out their homes, shipping them all to Miami and straight back to Brazil or wherever they came from. I didn't hear nobody complain about that. Not one person. Okay, and to date, it still stands that Obama deported way more people than, well, don't even consider Biden, because Biden didn't really want to deport anybody. But all these people that are out here protesting now, were they out there protesting against Obama? I highly doubt it. Of course not. Why would they? It was their own guy that did it. But leave it up to them to come up and put a spin on everything, lie about it, make it seem like, you know what Ron DeSantis is doing is criminal and inhumane. The reason why they can't come out here and protest, because Ron DeSantis and the police department, the sheriff's department in Florida already put their foot down. You will not come down here and riot and make a ruckus. It's not going to happen. We're going to do our job, and you can protest, but you're not going to stop them from doing it. Plain and simple. And all these other states here in the country that can follow suit, I think they should. They should do the same thing. Okay? As far as the blue states, that's always going to be, sadly, a battleground where, you know what? They're going to die on that hill. All the lefties, the commies, the socialists, the liberals, all of them, they're gonna die in that hill because they're not making this easy for, number one, for Americans, and number two, they're definitely not making it easy for trying to let all these illegal migrants stay in this country. Okay? Matter of fact, they're trying to make it easier for the criminals to keep committing more crimes. Never mind the illegal migrant criminals. It's like, I've said it once and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it till I see otherwise. It's like they want this destruction. They want to change the demographic of this country. Okay? And we just can't let that happen. There's no way. We have our own people here, born and raised here, that need help. We don't need to keep flipping the bill for people all around the world. It's bad enough we send hundreds of billions of dollars every year to over 170 countries. And I've told people before, you don't believe me? Go on the government website, see how much money is allocated. It will blow your mind. The hundreds of billions of dollars that they send just to South America alone, the countries in South America alone. And it makes you wonder, if they're sending them all that money, why in the hell are they letting all their people come here, and especially all the ones that have committed crimes, that are wanted for crimes? If you can't just look at that factor right there and say, wait a minute, something's wrong, it's because you don't want to. You don't want to, which means that you do not love this country. Stop waving the American flag, because you don't deserve to wave it. You haven't earned it. You lost that privilege if you want so many illegal migrants in this country, and you want so many criminals let out of prison with no cash bails, and you're fighting ICE so that they don't go and find the illegal migrants that have committed crimes not only in their countries, but in this country also. You don't deserve to call yourself an American. Okay? You just don't deserve to call yourself an American. Plain and simple. You hate the country this much, you want to be with those people, go to their country, see how good you do. See how good you do. Okay? But you won't. You won't. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your families. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And don't forget to pray for all the missing children that they brought across the border. Peace.